Hey guys, welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Today is Warcraft Monday, and I'm going to be reacting to a Platinum WoW video. It's called The Unknown History of the Draenei. I just watched the Aliens That Doomed the Warcraft Universe. The card will be at the top here with the playlist for Warcraft Monday. Just click on it if you want to access it. And yeah, let's start. 3, 2, 1... Go.
Previously on Draenei lore, Sargeras coerced a large majority of the Eredar into accepting his demonic power, and they all turned into demons except for a small group called the Draenei, led by Prophet Velen. The group of refugees got in a magical spaceship given to them by the Naaru, and they escaped into the cosmos. They traveled in their spaceship until they found a world called Exile's Refuge, also known as Draenor.
Where did the lights go?
Hataru, please tell me you know how to fix this. The Draenei's arrival onto Draenor was anything but smooth. They had been traveling around the cosmos, visiting dozens of planets, and in that time, they started to run out of fuel. The Naaru...
Were the Draenei visiting those planets, or were they escaping from those planets? Because I think I remember one of my subscribers said that the Draenei were, trying to look for a new homeworld. They found it, but then the Burning Legion also found their homeworld. Then they had to leave that new planet. So they were just jumping from planet to planet, trying to escape the gaze or the interests of the Burning Legion. So I wouldn't necessarily say that, they were visiting other planets. I would say that they were just trying to run away. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Platinum WoW is correct. I don't know.
Kure, Dore, and Kara powered the ship, and Kara was completely drained of its power. When the Naaru lose their power, they enter the void state of their life cycle, and its chaotic energies would only spell disaster for the other Naaru and Draenei on the ship. So Velen, he did what he had to do, and he shot that bitch in the space!
Alright everyone, crisis averted, now we can... Pull up, pull up, pull up!
The Draenei had quite the unfortunate arrival when they crash-landed on Draenor. On impact, one of the other Naaru, Dore, was killed, as well as some of the other Draenei passengers. The Genedar was left a powerless husk of a ship, and the last living Naaru, Kure, told the Draenei to leave the ship as fast as possible, because it too would eventually morph into the void state of its life cycle. And so, the Draenei set forth on this strange new land filled with wonder and mystery. But shooting that Naaru out of the spaceship had sapped a lot of Velen's energy.
Okay, let me just get this straight. When the Naaru reach that point of their lives where they become the void, how long does that last? Does it last until they die, or do they revert back into the light after some time? I'm just wondering about that. Yeah.
The Prophet was known for his ability to see into the future, but without the Naaru's help, it would be foolish for him to lead his people all by himself. Instead, Velen helped organize a group called the Council of Exarchs to help guide the different aspects of Draenei culture. First was the Rangari, scouts who would explore Draenor and relay information to the rest of their people, led by a Draenei named Naele. Next, the Artificers, engineers who built armor, weapons, and fortifications for their settlements. Their leader was Hataru, a brilliant crafter in his own right, who learned how to harness the power of Arcanite crystals. The Vindicators served as holy warriors of the Draenei, who stood at the front lines of combat, and were led by none other than Akama. Lastly was the Shatari, led by a priest named Othar, and they, just prayed a lot and talked to dead people. Yep, these 4 pillars of Draenei society led their people deep into Draenor and built a foothold and planned their next steps in securing a bright future for the nomadic race.
Okay, so they had warriors, they had spies, they had the religious institution, if I could say that, and they had the engineers. And then Velen was on top as probably like the head of state or something. I'm not sure. Yeah.
The first glorious city built by the Draenei was called Shattrath City, also known as Dwelling of Light. The Draenei capital became the heart of the race's culture and religion. But how did they build this giant city in 5 years? I don't know. Velen.
Well, they had the master of, technology and magic and art and knowledge. So, they probably have some sort of magical ability to prefabricate buildings out of the material of the land, and they would use their architecture and their technology to, solidify that magic into structures like as we see today. I don't know. I'm just assuming.
Probably had creative mode on or something, but that's off topic. The next thing they built was the Temple of Auchindoun, and they
Platinum, wow, come on.
took the body of the Naaru Dore and put it inside, and the Draenei souls who were attracted to it populated the city. You're probably wondering, what did the orcs think of these extraterrestrial alien goat people that landed on their planet? Well, to be honest, for the first 100 years or so, they didn't really bother each other. The two races maybe did some trading of resources between.
It looks like the Draenei had a vast tracts of land. I mean, when I saw that map that was shown just a second ago, it looks like they had a lot of territory compared to all the other orc clans that existed during that time on Draenor. That's interesting.
Each other, but for the most part, they really just kept to themselves. Besides, the orcs were busy doing orc things, like running around in the jungle, making snowmen, fighting ogres for hundreds of years, and worshipping the stars. And speaking of worshipping the stars, the Shadowmoon clan were a clan that dabbled in void magic, and were probably the most superstitious and shamanistic clan in all of Draenor, especially when it came to the stars. Remember how Velen shot that Naaru into space? Well, the Shadowmoon orcs tried to tap into the power of the Dark Naaru Kara, who now floated above the valley.
Yes, the perfect sacrifice! Ancestors
The bird is a sacrifice? Oh no.
of the Shadow Moon, shine in the darkness, lend me your strength.
Kara's power was extremely overwhelming and totally murdered the curious orcs, or drove them insane. They called the anomaly in the sky the Dark Star, and it became something they greatly feared, and the chieftain forbade anyone from tapping into its dark power, or they would be excommunicated from the Shadowmoon clan.
Oh, come on. Why haven't the Draenei told the orcs about what's going on? How they got to the planet, what's up in the sky, that dark star that they call it. Why don't they tell them what it is so that these things don't occur? Isolating yourself from everybody sounds like a good idea, but I don't know. In this situation, I think maybe they should have told them what's going on and what that dark star is in the sky. Yeah.
Fall back or die!
Let's see, what else did the Draenei accidentally do? Oh, well, because a giant magical spaceship drove headfirst into the Earth, its powerful energies of light, void, and arcane magic sent the primals and the breakers on Draenor into a frenzy. The Draenei tried to correct their wrongdoings and quell these elements, but they cannot save all of the natives from the element's wrath. So the Draenei's influence continued to spread, and they established multiple settlements across the magical ley lines of Draenor. The most prominent of these settlements was the Temple of Kerebor.
Was this like in a duration of time? Because I remember in the first episode, the aliens that doomed the Warcraft universe, Genedar and Genedar became separated, and their people also became separated on those ships. And when they left August, they were like in the hundreds. So I'm just wondering, the people that went to Draenor, how many of them are there? And how big is the population for them to be creating more settlements, far larger than anything else? Like, you know, where do they get the people to occupy those places? But yeah.
Over time, the Draenei brought the elements back into their equal balance. But more importantly, the Draenei learned how to ride Elecs, which are basically just elephants, but cooler because they have horns. This is a common trope for a lot of creatures in WoW. It's like, oh, you want to have a crocodile mob? Well, you know, this is a fantasy game, so we gotta make it unique, so just put 2 more legs on that crocodile, and then boom! Now you got a crocolisk. While all that was going on, back in the Grand, a peculiar thing was happening with their crashed ship. But before we talk about that, here is a quick word from today.
Excuse me for the interruption, but I have ripped you through time and space so that we may conduct a mutually beneficial transaction. Introducing Yeti X, World of Warcraft Edition. A microphone with excellent quality and a sleek and elegant Warcraft design. Furthermore, this device has the ability to mimic audio waves from otherworldly dimensions. Using the software provided, you may choose from multiple different voice-changing presets, and just recently, they have added new ones for the Burning Crusade, like Ethereal, that's my voice right now, Forest Troll, Tazdinko, Fungal Giant, and my personal favorite, Fell Orc.
Hello, I am a fell orc. Can't you tell by my voice?
Not only this, but you can also play audio clips through your microphone device. There is a large variety of clips, from the infamous Bell Reaver to Italian Bolvar.
Quando la Banshee ha spezzato l'elmo, ha aperto uno squarcio nel velo tra il nostro mondo e l'eterno.
I strongly
That's actually cool. I like that. Bulba speaking Italian like that. That's cool.
suggest you proceed with this transaction, and click the link below to get a Yeti X World of Warcraft Edition microphone for yourself. Thank you, Blue, for partnering with me. I will now transport you back to your original location in the space-time continuum.
Okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, there is a weird thing happening with their crashed ship. The husk of the Genedar started to attract orcish souls who were drawn by its holy energies that lingered within the ship. These light-imbued orcish spirits were granted with sage wisdom, and it was often shamans would travel to the ship so they could be enlightened with advice from their ancestors.
So they didn't go to the Shadowlands. They were stuck here on the living plane and going towards the ship, towards Genedar. Why didn't you guys go to the Shadowlands like everybody else? No, man.
Renamed the ship to Ashugun, and it became a place of large cultural significance for the orcs. This deeply troubled the Draenei because here's the thing. The last remaining Naaru, Kure, was still alive and morphing into its void state deep within the ship. What was going to happen if it grew stronger? What effect would it have on the orcs? Can the Draenei really do anything about it? No, not really. Getting between an orc and his dead grandpa who tells him good advice like,
hide in bush with axe, wait for ogre, kill ogre, give ogre head to pretty orc, orc become wife, have tiny orc baby, live happy life. Yes, good advice.
Like, if the Draenei tried to get into the middle of that, surely the orcs would get violent with them. Instead, the Draenei kind of just decided to not to do anything, and if something bad happened to the orcs, it would be their problem. And that was kind of the strategy the Draenei had with pretty much any potential foe on Draenor. Just don't get in their way and try and remain as peaceful as possible. But sometimes warfare was inevitable. Okay, so the Draenei kind of made a mistake. So apparently they built Shattrath City on top of the ruins of an old ogre city called Goria. And the ogres were furious about this.
Come on, Draenei, come on. Don't you guys do some sort of like an evaluation process of, testing the land, checking, making sure that it's going to be an alright place to build your civilization on? I mean, really, aren't there like checks and balances that they have to do first before you start building a whole new city on top of that land? I'm with the ogre here, but the ogre as well did not tell them before, like, hey guys, this is actually our land, this is where our ancestors built an old ancestral city here. You guys can't build here. No one said that. They're only coming back here now after like how many years? I don't know how many years it's been now since Shattrath City has been built, and the Draenor have been living in their own peace bubble for how long? I'm not entirely sure how long it's been, but really the ogre should have told them from the get-go, as soon as they saw them building infrastructure on their land. They should have told them, guys, you can't build here because our ancestors' graves are here, our ancestors' old cities are built here. This is a very sacred land to us. But they only come now, when it's too late.
These weak, little blue monsters really think they could just waltz right onto Draenor and build a city on their once great capital?
The Gorian Empire will not be overthrown by these peasants!
The leader of the Gorian Empire was an ogre named Imperator Hawklon, who accused the Draenei of being usurpers, who stole the knowledge and power of the arcane from the ogres. Besides,
did the Imperator really have two heads? Wow, okay. He must have been a very special ogre. Or maybe there are other ogres who also have two heads. I don't know.
How could the Draenei make such a technologically advanced city? Clearly, something was up. Imperator Hawklon declared that he would seize control of the ogres' ancient lands once again and bring the Gorian Empire into a golden age. The High Mall aristocrats threw their support for the Imperator's ambitious goals. And an ogre army that outnumbered the Draenei was formed and marched towards the gates of Shattrath City. The Draenei were not a race that enjoyed violence. In fact, Velen did everything in his power to stay passive and work through his problems peacefully. But if the ogres wanted war, they'd have to stand their ground.
Seize this opportunity to die gloriously, for your names will be carved into history! Let the battle begin!
Wait, that sounds like Gul'dan. Why is Gul'dan here busy going? I miss Gul'dan again, guys. Come on, don't do this to me. Gul'dan, I miss you.
The war that the Ogres declared on the Draenei was over in a...
Wait, what is he doing? That's weird. On the dead body like that? Is he teabagging? Ugh.
single battle. The Gorian Empire's ruler was defeated, and the army was left in disarray. From the top of the city's ramparts, Velen appeared with outstretched arms and said, "GG easy, get rolled, kid. Imagine thinking you could kill us, LMAO bronze player trash." Okay, well, he didn't say that. He said, "Go home, and you will not be harmed." So instead of wiping out the Empire right then and there, they decided to let them flee back to their city and pick up the pieces of the Gorian Empire. This whole event blew the orcs' mind. These blue aliens they considered to be a passing oddity just defeated the ogres in a single battle, and the orcs...
I like that picture of the Draenei lady there. She looks so like, I don't know, like she's high or something. Her eyes are wide open and she's just like...
They have been in conflict with these guys for like almost all of orcish history. No longer were the Draenei just some anomalies. They were now a threat. Every year, the orcs had an event called the Kosharg Festival by Oshugun, and at that year's festival, it was filled with unease. Some clans wanted to avoid all contact with the Draenei, while others thought showing mercy to the ogres was a sign of the Draenei's weakness. The clans never did come to a conclusion on the matter. At the end of the day, the Draenei never retaliated against them, so there is no real reason to lock themselves in conflict just yet. But back in Shattrath City, something deeply troubled Prophet Velen. Again and again, his mind was invaded by dark visions. He could not fully trust his ability to see into the future, but what he saw truly shook him to his core. On multiple occasions, he envisioned the world of Draenor being consumed by darkness. A large, overwhelming army of orcs marched in unison, bringing only death and destruction in their wake. Deep within Velen's soul, he feared the worst. The Legion was coming.
That was The Unknown History of the Draenei by Platinum WoW. Yes, guys, this was very enjoyable. I really like I really like how Platinum WoW presents his videos. The Draenei, the Draenei, the orcs, the ogre on Draenor. You know, I understand what Velen was trying to do. You know, trying to keep these people out of the conflicts that are occurring on Draenor in terms of the ogre and the orcs. I understand that, but you know, if he had intervened in some situations, like in terms of the void dark star that's in the sky that, you know, the orcs were trying to gain power from. If he had told them what it was and how dangerous it was, maybe the orcs wouldn't have done anything about it, you know. They wouldn't have tried anything. And if also they had dialogue and communication with the ogre, maybe they wouldn't be building their city, their capital city, on top of an ogre's, you know, traditional homeland and an empire that used to be existing on that land. Maybe they would have moved away from that place and they would have built their capital in a different location. But because the Draenei didn't really talk to the locals of Draenor, like the ogre and the orcs, things like this happened. And also what happened on the ship, on the Genedar, how it became a spiritual gathering place for the orcs. If the Draenei told them that, hey guys, this is actually our ship, what's in there is also a very dangerous Naaru that's transforming into its void state, and it can corrupt you and it can kill you, so you guys gotta stay away from the ship. If they had told them these situations beforehand, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Maybe the orcs wouldn't have just appropriated their property just like that. And also the orcs, don't they know, can't they tell from the architecture that, hey guys, this is not actually naturally made, or it's not made by orcs, it's actually made by the Draenei. So this is their, you know, spaceship or thing or structure that's stuck in the mountain. You shouldn't go in there. But I guess maybe the power of their grandparents and their chiefs before is overriding that kind of logic in their minds. I don't know. All I'm saying is that, you know, the orcs should have realized that this structure belongs to the Draenei. But anyways, yeah, this was very interesting. Velen's policy of isolationism mixed with also trading with other groupings to a certain extent was also a good and a bad idea. Like I said, they should have had more dialogue with the people on the ground on Draenor, but also isolating themselves and keeping to themselves also allowed them to focus more on building their civilization, on growing the numbers of Draenor, not Draenor, but numbers of Draenei, I should say, on the planet, and, you know, try to recover from that devastation of escaping Ogres and their population turning into demons. So yeah, it has a good point to it, and it also has a bad point to it. Okay guys, that's it for today. Remember, if you like the video, please give me a like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Click on notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye bye.